Do you know how fucking disgusting it is to look at a 14-year-old girl and say, yeah, she's ready for marriage. Since she's bleeding now and her period is starting, we can go ahead and marry her off. Well, that's what Trump wants to do. Trump wants to marry your 14-year-old daughters off. So that means any man that comes at your daughter and looks at her and says, that's nice, let me try a little piece of that. They can get in that if they want to. They probably won't be charged because now she's a legal age. A fucking legal age. So on top of trying to charge 14-year-old adolescent boys, because those are boys, as adults in the court system, you want to marry off our children at the age of fucking 14 years old. This is what I have a problem with. Y'all Caucasian fucking Casper the Ghost people, y'all have always been fucking creepy to me when it came to young ass children. There are certain Midwestern states right now that are making it legal for 14-year-old girls to get married so abortion won't happen. Are you fucking kidding me? Y'all have always liked y'all girls skinny and small, and I get it now. Y'all like children. Y'all want to mess around with little fucking girls, and that is disgusting. And if he gets his way, your little 14-year-old girls walking around, yeah, you better fucking pray that shit don't happen, because there's going to be a lot of SAing and graping happening to these little girls and fucking adult-ass men getting away with that shit because now they're an adult. So the charges won't be that fucking heavy. But hey, that'll be great for Donald Trump and his little friends that's in the Epstein files, because now those little girls that they flew to that fucking island, baby, they're adults. So whatever went down there, it doesn't fucking count. Yeah, I ain't forgot about the fucking Epstein files.
Donald Trump is trying to make it so 14-year-olds and up are adults now. You can't make this stuff up, people. How interesting, on the brink of this scandal about Trump being involved with Epstein, that now he wants 14-year-olds and up to be considered adults. So Trump and the other Republicans held a press conference where they were talking about how teenage crime is on the rise. We need to do something about that. So, we thought of an idea to where now 14-year-olds and up will be prosecuted as adults. So if you're a teenager, you can now be prosecuted as an adult. That's what they're trying to make happen. But it doesn't stop there, because they're also trying to do this so when it comes to things like sex crime, anyone 14 and older will also be considered an adult. Once again, the timing of this and his scandal with Epstein, this is like beyond creepy and disgusting and just predatory, and it's already happening. There are literally a handful of states that have rewrote their state laws so that child marriage can be a thing. They're also actively making it so a sex crime against a child would be a misdemeanor rather than a felony. People aren't talking about this enough for me. I don't know what the heck is going on with this country, but I want to spread the word about this because, like I said, not enough of us are talking about this, and I feel like it's because people don't know that this whole thing is going on. Don't let Trump and the Republicans get away with doing this on the sly. Like, we need people talking about this, like, ASAP.
So Donald Trump is thinking about bringing the age group for minors to start getting charged as adults would, down to 14. And I wanted to tell you how I feel about that. To be honest with you, I understand. And if I have to pick a side, I agree with it. And let me tell you why I agree with it. It's a sad day and age that we are in where there's so many young minors causing so much crime and getting a slap on the wrist and let back out of jail. They're not doing any time. Multiple times they go back and they do the same thing over and over again. How do I know? I have a brother that used to do that. My brother wasn't the greatest growing up, and he was one of those people that was in a situation where there was an adult directing him and some other young men around 13, 14 to commit certain crimes, from robbing, stealing, carrying around weapons, and things of that nature, directing them to do these crimes while the adults sat there and manipulated them and reaped the benefits. All extortion, right? Making them feel powerful at their age. They get in trouble, they let back out. But today in 2025, it's on a whole nother level. And these kids today that are underage, that are 18 and under, we want to sit around and pretend that they don't know what's going on. They do. They do. Now, it is going to be a touchy situation because you don't know if they're being manipulated, right? Or are they doing this because they know they could get away? And 9 out of 10, these teenagers run in packs. And they know they could get away with it. It just happened in California the other day where a bunch of teenagers ran up into a convenience store. Then they just robbed them, took everything out of there, and just left. Why? It's because if they get caught, they get a slap on the wrist in California and go right back on the streets. Right? I believe there needs to be harsher punishments for teenagers. Because it's to a point, they're skipping school. Obviously, the grades are down for kids in schools. They're not learning shit. They're looking at all these influences like TV, music, all these things to think that it's okay to sell drugs and rob people, kill people, drive-bys. They think that's okay. That's the faster route to make it in life, right? No, they need a harsh reality. It's not a black or white thing. I don't care who it affects in that area. The fact is, crime is rampant for underage teenagers. And the only way you're going to solve that is give them certain initiatives to know that if you do this, this happens. Why would I ever change if there's no consequences? Right? Why would I? So, in this day and age, especially in this political climate, there's a lot of teenagers that feels like they could get away with it, especially because of the certain laws that are in a lot of these states, specifically blue states, where they slap you on the wrist, they allow you to get away with murder, they allow you to get away with stealing people, they allow you to get beat up, they allow all these things if you're a teenager. So, what do you expect? What do you expect? In Chicago, they have this thing, I believe it's called, it's something summer, where all these teenagers come together every summer when they're all out and just cause chaos. There's video proof of it. Teenagers staying till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, looking for stores to vandalize, looking for streets to hold up, things to destroy, and they get a slap on the wrist if they get caught. And if they run away and get away, police don't even bother because they know they're going to let them back out anyway. Yeah, I agree. There needs to be harsher punishments for ages 14 and up. Because the first thing that needs to be on their minds is getting their asses in school and learning. Half of them can't read, write, or do anything constructive. But you have no problem compromising other people's businesses, their health, putting your hands on people, shooting people in drive-bys. I watched a video of a 16, 17-year-old drive-by and shoot a 6-year-old. And we're like, what are we talking about right now? I'm watching teenagers fight cops, putting their hands on cops. And you know what they do for the cops? Have to do? Call their mama and send them home. That's it. That's it. No, there needs to be a change. There needs to be a change. Teenagers are too dangerous. I say it all the time. There is nobody on this earth more dangerous than this generation of teenagers. These teenagers are unhinged. This is not something that's just developed in their brains. Sometimes you got to study cycles back then to understand how can you even fathom doing these things as a young teenage killer. These teenagers are doing it for sport. These teenagers are doing it and expect no consequences to be done for them. Something needs to be done. And I agree with President Trump. Something needs to be done. Now, I don't know if the age should be down to 14th or not, but I am completely supportive if it is. For some of these states to start wising up and taking care of their teenager delinquent problem. Because these teenagers are unhinged. And I 100% agree that they need to, some of these teenagers need to start being charged as an adult. Especially ones that got a long criminal list and they're not even 18 yet. At this point, you're just compromising the public. So, yeah, things need to change. And if they need to start being charged as adults, yeah. That's why I'm very big on the 3-strike rule, right? When it comes to certain crimes. They need to bring that back for all states. They need to bring it for all states. I guarantee when people know they got 3 strikes, they will stay the fuck out of the way. People will stay out of the way. They will stay out of the way. Especially if you do a strike so heinous, you may go to jail for life already. People will stay the hell out of the way. Trust me. Everybody's not going to, because there's always going to be people gambling. But, yeah. Then we have a teenager problem. We have a young adult problem. And it ain't a good problem. They have become more scarier than actual adults. I agree. Make the moves. We need to start doing these teenagers the same way how adults get. And maybe they'll learn. Because obviously they ain't learning in their own household, or their parents ain't paying attention to them.
Donald Trump and Republicans are trying to reduce the age of consent for marriage to 14 years of age. In his press conference this morning before he federally seized D.C., he claimed that there were droves of violent teenagers causing crime and that any person 14 years old or up should be tried as an adult. But they are also changing the laws so that a 14-year-old girl would be eligible for marriage, and it would change how sex crimes are prosecuted. There are 4 states, Wyoming, Missouri, New Hampshire, and West Virginia, who have already written child marriage laws to allow for a 14-year-old to marry a grown adult, and any age discrepancy that would be charged as a sex crime will no longer be a crime. They claim that they have rewritten these laws to reduce abortions. What they are doing is legalizing pedophilia and child marriage, similar to the Taliban. Every Christian nationalist accusation that gay rights was going to legalize pedophilia was a confession, because they do not believe that women are people. They believe they're property, and that their only purpose is in service of men. Also, in light of the Christian nationalists now saying the quiet part out loud that they do not want women to vote, a 14-year-old cannot vote, but her adult husband will be able to, so he will by de facto be household voting for her. They also, these are the same states that want to get rid of no-fault divorce so that she can never leave. And the younger they can trap them, when you're not old enough or wise enough or have enough experience to be able to get out of those situations, and they can entrap these young women sooner. They will have children much earlier and will be unable to pursue higher education and career options that would give them safety in the future. This is their plan, to make sure that all women are married off in their teens so that they cannot escape, so that they have babies young, and so that they are systemically abused by men. Again, they are doing the same thing that the Taliban is doing by allowing for child marriage. And the other thing is that it also allows for them to send teenage boys to prison a lot sooner. Here in Tennessee, there are counties that are no longer accepting doctor's notes for sicknesses, but if you miss more than 7 days, they take you to court. And if they are able to try you as an adult for repeated truancy, even if you are ill, they can send you to prison. They have shortened the pipeline from high school to prison to send young boys there, and now they are trying to come for young girls, because we have only ever needed laws to prevent men from marrying children, and they are trying to make that legal. And how convenient that now that we know that Trump is in the Epstein files, they are trying to legalize the age of the girls we know he slept with, because there are victims who have testified about it. And this comes after a representative in Utah, the President J. Stewart Adams, rewrote the law when his 18-year-old relative raped a 13-year-old. He rewrote the law so that if you're an 18-year-old but still in high school, it's not a felony. So an 18-year-old boy who assaults a 13-year-old, still a child, a 14-year-old girl can get married to a 40-year-old man, no sex crime. Republicans are the party of pedophiles. You have no moral standing. Every single accusation is a confession. And shame on you, particularly you white mothers who sold your daughters out for proximity to power.
But the law makes no fucking sense, bro. How the fuck are they gonna say at the age of 25, that's when the human is fully developed and shit, mentally and physically and shit, but then at 18 say, oh, you can vote, you can do all this shit, you're considered an adult and whatever. Hell, even in some other countries, you're considered an adult at 14. This shit makes no fucking sense. What in the world are you basing these law on? And if it's not on science or actual facts, then why the fuck are kids considered adults? That makes no fucking sense. Most people don't even have their fucking life together at that age, bruh.
So, the master of finding a legal loophole is now trying to lower the age of consent. He wants 14-year-old children to be considered adults. and he's disguising it as a way of saying that these kids are out of control. They're dangerous criminals, so they need to be all considered grown-ass adults at the age of 14. You know that list? That list of children? 14-year-old girls? Yep.
Okay, this is the third time I've had to record this video because I can't quite articulate the red string that's in my head. Okay, so bear with me. So, DC yesterday, right? Trump has this insane press conference where he rambles incoherently, which is like par for the course for him. I don't think I've ever heard him string together a coherent sentence since like the 80s, and those were like archival clips. Anyway, getting off topic again. One of the things that I found really interesting is that they're essentially saying that the justification for this federal takeover in DC is the fact that there are roaming bands of teenagers that are very violent. They're gangs and they're beating people up, and it's just crime. 14-year-olds are causing crime, which is in and of itself kind of nuts, because also, haven't we also been saying that the younger generations don't socialize because of these goddamn phones? But yet they're somehow social enough to get together to have, like, what, West Side Story style gangs? Okay. And we know that Big Balls got beat up by 15-year-olds. Okay. But the thing that kind of, like, slips through the cracks is that they want to lower the age of being able to be tried as an adult. Like right now, to be tried as an adult, you're 18. They want to lower that age to 14 under this guise of, like, you know, these bands of aggressive gangs of teenagers. But part of lowering that age of being considered an adult from 18 to 14 is lowering the age of consent for marriage to 14 years old, which means that if you were raped or essayed as a 14-year-old, you consented it. You see where I'm going with this? Okay? That means that they couldn't prosecute assault or rape if the victim was 14 years old or over, because it would be considered consensual. Which means that, like, if there was a 14-year-old getting married, which feels gross in my mouth to say, if there was a 14-year-old getting married to, like, a 30-year-old, that's okay in the eyes of the law, according to them. This is what they want to do. And maybe call me a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist, but DC feels like a distraction from Epstein. And the fact that they slid this age of consent, teenagers should be tried as adults, business into the press conference makes me wonder if, when we do get access to those files, if Dumper's name is attached to a 14-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Are they getting us primed, getting us ready to hear about how the president was involved, and I'm using censored words here, with a 14-year-old? Look, who knows? But this feels true in my instinct gut.